Hi guys, happy Tuesday. So, today I want to talk about self-fulfilling prophecies and other Ouija demons that are popping up. So, we've already done the ZoZo thing. ZoZo's fake, made up. There's no basis in truth for him. There's no solid anything for him except for somebody's mind. Same goes for Zaza. Probably Nana. I've never heard of Nana. It's probably another form of mama. Zaza, ZoZo. So yeah, those are just other spawns of the same thought form, just different names. So self-fulfilling prophecies. I get a lot of people asking me, well, okay, I wasn't focusing on ZoZo, so why did he come up? Why did he come up through my session? I can't get rid of him. What happens on the Ouija board? Say you attribute something negative to the board, or hopefully positive, and don't scapegoat it like most people. So, self-fulfilling prophecies, psychologically, are... So, self-fulfilling prophecies occur more often than you'd think. And that is a lot to do with possession on the Ouija board, with ZoZo. Fake. It's false. It's a self-fulfilling prophecy. So when somebody gets possessed through the board, I honestly believe it's fake. It's being faked. So, in this lesson we discuss this phenomenon and explain how it's due to cognitive error. We also go over some classic studies as well as real-life examples. So, self-fulfilling prophecies. Have you ever woken up and just knew it was going to be a bad day? Yeah? So, sure enough, you stub your toe, people at work seem to be in a bad mood, and negative things just seem to happen. If so, you were likely experiencing a self-fulfilling prophecy. Funny, isn't it? Strange. The human mind is so intense. So, a self-fulfilling prophecy is when a person unknowingly causes a prediction to come true, due to that simple fact that he or she exerts it to come true. So, say you get possessed through the Ouija. Unconsciously, you have that in the back of your head. So, say I did believe ZoZo was real. I did believe in possession, which I do not. I think it's a bunch of shit, which is true. My truth. So, yeah, no. I would get on the board and then, subconsciously in the back of my head, boom, there that crap is. And I fulfill my own self-fulfilling prophecy of doom and gloom and bringing that ZoZo entity, quote, into my body. So it would be my own fault, a self-fulfilling prophecy. So in other words, an expectation about a subject, such as a person or event, can affect our behavior towards that subject, which causes the expectation to be realized. So, if you guys expect it, you're gonna get it. Same thing with ZoZo. If you expect it, expect to get it. So, for example, a high school volleyball coach exhorts freshmen to be less skilled, so she does not put them into play very often. When she does put them in, they are rusty and don't do well, thereby fulfilling her expectations. So you can see how somebody else can influence you to have a self-fulfilling prophecy as well. In other words, in a form of brainwashing. So in one study regarding self-fulfilling prophecies, psychologists led some male college students to believe that a female student was attracted to them, and others to believe that she was not attracted to them. The social psychologists later observed interactions between the men and the female in question. The woman was more likely to act as if she was attracted to the first set of men. Why? Because the men who thought she was attracted to them acted in a way that seemed to lead her to actually be attracted to them. So that actually does fall into the realm of contagious magic, like attracts like. So sympathetic magic. So you can think of the self-fulfilling prophecy as a circular pattern. Our actions toward others, where'd I go? Our actions towards others impact their beliefs about us, which dictate their actions towards us, which then reinforces our own beliefs about ourselves. So this in turn influences our actions towards others, which brings us back to the beginning of the cycle. This pattern can be negative, and it is very negative within the Ouija board community, especially with ZoZo, like the freshman volleyball player's example, but it can be also positive. So, sounds very familiar, doesn't it? It's scary how one person can influence so many different people to actually believe that something is truly real. So, the Pygmalion effect. So one classic study conducted in the late 1960s demonstrates the power of positive self-fulfilling prophecy, also known as the Pygmalion effect. Robert Rosenthal informed the teachers in one elementary school that 5 of the students in their class had been identified as academic spurters, who likely outperformed their classmates during the remainder of the year. The teachers were told, falsely, that this had been determined by testing done earlier that year. So in reality, these 5 students were chosen completely at random. So there should have been no difference in the increase in their academic performance relative to the other students. However, by the end of the year, those 5 did outperform the other students. The teachers' expectations for the academic spurters, damn it, I'm locked out of this, caused them to treat those students differently, providing better and more feedback, asking them more questions, etc. The result in better academic performances, thus fulfilling the prophecy of academic excellence that was made. So, that is psychologically a self-fulfilling prophecy and why it happens. So you can see how stuff can get completely just messed up, and how messed up your mind can get from the negative, the ZoZo shit. So, okay. Let's see. Okay. Another example of self-fulfilling prophecy is a prediction that directly or indirectly causes itself to become true, by the very term of the prophecy itself, due to positive feedback between belief and behavior. So, does that ring true to any kind of spirit or anything? ZoZo. So a self-fulfilling prophecy is a prediction that directly or indirectly causes itself to become true, by the very term of the prophecy itself, due to positive feedback between belief and behavior. Although examples of such prophecies can be found in literature as far back as the ancient Greece and ancient India, it is the 21st and 20th century sociologist Robert K. Merton who is credited with coining the expression self-fulfilling prophecy and formalizing its structure and consequences. So in 1948 article Self-Fulfilling Prophecy, Merton defines it in the following terms, which I think is great. It makes perfect sense for ZoZo and anything bad that happens to you through the board. So first research. So the self-fulfilling prophecy is, in the beginning, a false definition of the situation evoking a new behavior, which the original false conception come true. This specious validity, whatever, validity of the self-fulfilling prophecy perpetuates a reign of error, for the prophet will cite the actual course of events as proof that he was right from the very beginning. So, in case of the ZoZo thing, with the possessions, with the all the markings being scratched, basically having sex with ZoZo, sexual intercourse with demons, just strange, very strange, not very, yeah, it's just seriously fucking morbid. All that comes from one person or a group of massive people. Like I said, it was a mass hysteria. So it just feeds. It's a circle. It's a vicious circle. That it won't ever go away for the people that actually believe it. So, in other words, a positive or negative prophecy, a strongly held belief, or a delusion. So, that would, for me, tell me that ZoZo, and all of ZoZo's forms, Mama, Zaza, whatever other fucking weird, odd ones out there, are all completely a delusion. So, declared as truth when it's actually false. That's a delusion. I firmly believe that. So, may sufficiently influence people so that their reactions ultimately fulfill the one false prophecy. So, you can subliminally put that out there through movies, through books, through everything like that, through articles and everything on the internet. If you truly believe in that demon, then your brain is going to make that real for you. And you can actually influence other people, but some people are very strong-willed and don't fall for that shit. I do not fall for that. I did for quite a while, and when you come out of that and you realize that it's false, it's a delusion, you feel so much better and liberated. Very liberating. So, self-fulfilling prophecy are effects in which behavioral confirmation affect, in which behavior influenced by expectations causes those expectations to come true. It is complementary to the self-defeating prophecy. So, it's kind of stereotype, see what it is. Alright, so the stereotype of the specific form of self-fulfilling prophecy is very common and makes many forms. For example, the expectancy for a political party to act in a certain way based on race, religion, gender, and much more can eventually lead to the said party to imitate the stereotype. So, with the entire world of ZoZo and all these Ouija board demons, like Nana, which is another form of Mama, they are all a basic stereotypical self-fulfilling prophecy. It's basic human nature, basic psychology. It's very true too. It's very, very true. So, alright, literature, media, and the arts. Alright, in literature, self-fulfilling prophecies are often used as plot devices. They have been used in stories for millennia, but have gained a lot of popularity recently in the science fiction genre. They are typically used ironically, with the prophesied events coming to pass due to the action of one trying to prevent the prophecy. A recent example would be the life of Anakin Skywalker, the fictional Jedi Truth Sith Lord in George Lucas's Star Wars saga. So, they are also sometimes used as comic relief. So, many myths, legends, and fairy tales make use of this motif as a central element of narratives that are designed to illustrate inexorable fate, fundamental to the Hellenic worldview. In a common motif, a child, whether newborn or not yet conceived, is prophesied to cause something that those in power do not want to happen. This may be the death of the powerful person. His more light-hearted versions is often the marriage or a proof or lower-class child to his own. The events come about, nevertheless, as a result of the action taken to prevent them. Frequently, child Abandonment sets the chain of events in motions. So, you guys see where I'm going with that? It makes a lot of sense. It really, really does. So the best known example from the Greek legend is that of Oedipus warned that his child would one day kill him. Laius abandoned his newborn son. Oedipus, I don't know that fucking word, that deity, to die, but Oedipus was found and raised by others, and thus, in ignorance of his true origins, when he grew up, he was warned that he would kill his father and marry his mother. Believing his foster parents were his real parents, he left his home and traveled to Greece, eventually reaching the city where his biological parents lived. There, he got into a fight with a stranger, his real father, killed him, and married his widow, his real mother. So you see how these self-fulfilling prophecies actually all come true, the psychology behind them, I hope. So although the legend opens with the prophecy that he will kill his grandfather, Arceus, and his abandonment with his mother, Danae, the prophecy is one self-fulfilling in some variants. In some, he accidentally spears his grandfather at a competition, an act that could have been could have happened regardless of Aristus's response to the prophecy. In other variants, his presence at the games is explained by his hearing of the prophecy, so that his attempt to evade is to cause the prophecy to be fulfilled. In still others, Arceus is one of the wedding guests when Polydeuces tried to force Danae to marry him, and when Pegasus turns them to stone with the Gorgon's head. So as Polydeuces fell in love with Danae because Arceus abandoned her at sea, and Perseus killed the Gorgon as consequence of Polydeuces' attempt to get rid of Danae's son so he could marry her, the prophecy fulfilled itself in these variants. Just saying. So Greek histography provides a famous variant when the Lydian king Quirinus asked the Delphic oracle if he should invade Persia. The response came that if he did, he would destroy a great kingdom. Assuming this meant he would succeed, he attacked, but the kingdom he destroyed was his own. In such an example, the prophecy prompts someone to action because he is led to expect a favorable result, but he receives another disastrous result, which nonetheless fulfills the prophecy. So be careful what you think about. People do not necessarily have to unsuccessfully avoid a prophecy in order for the prophecy to be self-fulfilled. For example, when it was predicted that Zeus would overthrow his father, Kronos, Saturn, we're getting into Saturn again, Saturnus, Kronos, Zeus, Titan, it's all linked together. This is all linking together. Each video is synchronistic to each other. I think that's amazing. Kronos, and usurp his throne as king of the gods. He actively waged war against him, in direct attempt to fulfill this prophecy. This makes the prophecy of a self-fulfilling one because it was the prophecy itself that gave Zeus the inspiration to do it in the first place. So anything that you're inspired by and you act upon is a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's very true. So people that, report all these crazy, psychotic happenings, 99.9% are self-fulfilling prophecies. The other, I don't know. The other has got to be some kind of archetypal energy or thought form that is influencing that person. So, Alright, the story of Romulus and Remus is another example. According to legend, a man overthrew his brother, the king. He then ordered that his two nephews, Romulus and Remus, be drowned, fearing that they would someday kill him, like he did to his brother. The boys were placed in a basket and thrown in the Tiber River. A wolf found the babies, and she raised them. Later, a shepherd found the twins and named them Romulus and Remus. As teenagers, they found out who they were. They killed their uncle, fulfilling the prophecy. It just goes on and on and on. And these are facts. These are all facts. So you can't, there's no facts with ZoZo. It's these facts. So here's the Arabic version of self-fulfilling prophecies. So a variation of the self-fulfilling prophecy is the self-fulfilling dream, which dates back to medieval Arabic literature. Several tales in the 1001 Nights, also known as the Arabian Nights, use this device to foreshadow what is going to happen as a special form of literary proplepsis. A notable example is the ruined man who became rich again through a dream, in which the man is told in his dream to leave his native city of Baghdad, and travel to Cairo, where he will discover the whereabouts of some hidden treasures. The man travels there and experiences misfortune after losing belief in the prophecy, ending up in jail, where he tells his dream to a police officer. The officer mocks the idea of foreboding dreams and tells the protagonist that he himself had a dream about a house with a courtyard and a fountain in Baghdad, where treasure is buried under the fountain. The man recognizes the place as his own house, and after he is released from jail, he returns home and digs up the treasure. In other words, the foreboding dream not only predicted the future, but the dream was the cause of its prediction coming true. A variant of this story later appears in English folklore as the Peddler of Swaffham. So, I think it's just great. I think it's great. I really do. So another variation of the self-fulfilling prophecy can be seen in the tale of Adolf, where Harun al-Rashid consults his library, the House of Wisdom, reads a random book, falls to laughing and weeping, and dismisses the faithful Vizver Javar ibn Yaha from sight. Jahar, disrupted and upset, flees Baghdad and plunges into a series of adventures in Damascus, involving Adolf and the woman whom Ataf eventually married. After returning to Baghdad, Jafar reads the same book that caused Harun to laugh and weep, and discovers that it describes his own adventures with Ataf. In other words, it was Harun's reading of the book that provoked the adventures described in the book to take place. This is an early example of reverse casualty, or reverse psychology. So, in the 12th century, this tale was translated into Latin by Petrus Alfonsi, and included his Displencia Claricilas in the 14th century. A version of this tale also appears in the Gesta Romanorum and Giovanni Boccaccio's The Decameron. Now here we go in India. Alright, Krishna playing his flute with Radha. Krishna. I love Krishna. I do. I really want to put Krishna back here behind me, but I just love having my ladies in my videos with me. So self-fulfilling prophecies appear in classical Sanskrit literature. In the story of Krishna in the Indian epic, the ruler of the Mathura kingdom, Kasma, afraid of a prophecy that predicted his death. I promise I'm going to email you back, Angelina. Good true. I love you. Yes, everything's popping up. Okay, afraid of the prophecy that predicted his death at the hands of his sister, Devaki's son, and had her cast into prison, when he planned to kill all of her children at birth. After killing the first six children, in Devaki's apparent miscarriage of the seventh, Krishna, the eighth son, was born, and life was in danger when he smuggled out to be raised by foster parents, Yashoda and Nanda, in the village of Gokula. Years later, Kansa learned about the child's escape and kept sending various demons to put an end to him. The demon was defeated at the hands of Krishna and his brother Balarama. Krishna, as a young man, returned to Mathura to overthrow his uncle, and Kansa was eventually killed by his nephew Krishna. So it was due to Kansa's attempt to prevent the prophecy that led it to coming true, thus the fulfilling prophecy. So do you guys see where I'm coming from with self-fulfilling prophecies within the Ouija? I hope one person, one book, one movie can influence massive amounts of people. Massive amounts of people. And it's scary. Okay, a little bit of Russian. Oleg. Oh my god, two girls. Oleg? Oh, it's not Oleg Olachevsky. Never mind. Oleg of Novgorod was a Bulgarian prince. Ooh, Bulgarian. Oh, he was a Bulgarian prince who ruled the Rus people during the early 12th century. As Old East Slavic chronicles say, it was prophesied by the pagan priests that Oleg would take death from his stallion. To avoid this, he sent the horse away. Many years later, he asked where his horse was, and he was told that it had died. He asked to see the remains and was taken to the place where the bones lay. When he touched the horse's skull with his boot, a snake slithered from the skull and bit him. Oleg died, thus fulfilling the prophecy. In the primary chronicle, Oleg is known as the prophet, ironically referring to the circumstances of his death. The story was romanticized by Alexander Pushkin in his celebrated ballad, The Song of the Wise Oleg. In Scandinavian traditions, this legend lived on in the saga of Ovar Odd. Okay, European fairy tales. It just goes on and on and on and on and on. Self-fulfilling prophecies are crazy. Scary crazy. Many fairy tales such as The Devil with the 3 golden hairs, The Fish in the Ring, the story of the wonderful beggars, The King who would be stronger than fate, revolve about a prophecy that a poor boy will marry a rich girl, or less frequently, a poor girl, a rich boy. This is a story type 1930 in the Arrayne-Thompson classification scheme. But the girl's father's efforts to prevent it are the reason why the boy ends up marrying her. So if somebody is trying to back up the claim that ZoZo is real, they are just making it even more real and giving other people more reasons to get on the board and misuse it. Then come the self-fulfilling prophecies, the scratching, the sexual intercourse with demons, Ouija demons. I can't do that enough. So yeah, another fairy tale occurs with older children in the language of the birds. Oh, birds. Another, and the black crow that is associated with ZoZo is actually Odin. So, Hecate, Odin, Saturn as well. Saturnus, ZoZo, but not ZoZo. Made up, fake, false. Nothing. Maybe I should fucking write a book. I should. But I'm not going to, because that's not my area. But I still want to get this shit out, because I just feel like I should. It feels right. So, the language of the birds. A father forces his son to tell him what the bird says. That the father would be the son's servant. Okay, in the ram, the father forces his daughter to tell him her dream. That her father would would hold an ewer for her to wash her hands in. In all such tales, the father takes the child's responses as evidence of ill will and drives the child off. This allows the child to change, so that the father will not recognize his own offspring later, and so offer to act as the child's servant. Strange. Makes sense, though. Makes a lot of sense. In some variants of Sleeping Beauty, such as Sun, Moon, and Talia, the sleep is not brought on by a curse, but a prophecy that she will be endangered by flax. Do you guys know what flaxseed actually is? It's hemp. Results in the royal order to remove all the flax or hemp from the castles, resulting in her ignorance of the danger and her curiosity. Do you guys see where I'm coming from with this? It feels so liberating. It's so liberating. So even in Shakespeare's Macbeth is another classic example of a self-fulfilling prophecy. The three witches give Macbeth a prophecy that Macbeth will eventually become king, but afterwards the offspring of his best friend will rule instead of his own. Macbeth tries to make the first half true, while trying to keep his bloodline on his throne instead of his friends. Spurred by the prophecy, he kills the king and his friend, something he arguably never would have done before. In the end, the evil actions he committed to avoid his succession by another's bloodline gets him killed in a revolution. The later prophecy, by the first apparition of the witches, that Macbeth should beware Macduff, is also a self-fulfilling prophecy. So if Macbeth had not been told this, then he might not have regarded Macduff as a threat. Therefore, he would not have killed Macduff's family, and Macduff would have not sought revenge and killed Macbeth. Alright, now we get into modern times. Modern times with movies. Similar to the Orpheus above, a more modern example would be Darth Vader in the Star Wars films, or Lord Voldemort. I don't watch Harry Potter. In the Harry Potter franchise, each attempt to take steps to prevent action against them, which had been predicted could cause their downfall, but instead created the conditions leading to it. Another less well-known example, modern example, occurred with the character of John Mitchell on BBC Three's Being Human, the Disney television series that So Raven stars Raven-Symoné as the title character, with the ability to see into the future with a strained situation. The extreme steps that the character takes to prevent the situations are almost always what lead to it. So, does that make sense? I think it makes perfect sense. So, new thought. Now we're getting more into the modern era without the movie Disney theme, and we're getting into thought forms and tuplas. Which, I don't know. It's up for you guys to decide. So, alright. The law of attraction is a typical example of a self-fulfilling prophecy. It is the name given to the belief that like attracts like, and that by focusing on positive or negative thoughts, one can bring about a positive or negative result. Sounds like what the people that use the Ouija for the right things, for spiritual fulfillment, spiritual enlightenment, wisdom, knowledge, and love. It seems like this is what we all basically preach, and we actually follow it too. So, alright, according to this law, all things are created first by imagination, ZoZo, which leads to thoughts, then to words and actions. The thoughts, words, and actions held in mind affect someone's intentions, which makes the expected result happen. Although there are some cases when positive or negative attitudes can produce corresponding results, principally the placebo and nocebo effects, there is no scientific basis to the law of attraction. But we all do know that if we focus on something bad for a very long time, it just keeps getting worse and worse, and more bad emotions come up, and it just So, alright, a casual loop. Newcomb's paradox. So, here's one more. A self-fulfilling prophecy may be a form of a casualty loop, only when the prophecy can be said to be truly known to occur, since only the events in the future will be causing effects in the past. Otherwise, it would be a simple case of events in the past causing events in the future. Predestination does not necessarily involve a supernatural power and could be the result of other infallible, knowledgeable mechanisms. Problems arising from infallibility, and influencing the future are explored in Newcomb's paradox. A notable fictional example of self-fulfilling prophecy occurs in this classical play, Obiix Rex, in which Obiix becomes the king of Thebes, whilst the process unwittingly fulfills a prophecy that he would kill his father and marry his mother. The prophecy itself serves as the impetus for his actions, and thus it is self-fulfilling. The movie 12 Monkeys heavily deals with themes of predestination and the Cassandra complex, where the protagonist who travels back in time explains he can't change the past. So, sadly, that is where possession comes from. That is where everything that negative happens when you have an experience with ZoZo through the board. Self-fulfilling because of what you've been conditioned to believe about ZoZo. Therefore, it makes it real for whoever believes in it. I don't. Other people firmly do. And I just want to make one thing clear, that I'm not in any way... I've had a few instances. I am in no way trying to debunk or say a certain person made ZoZo up, because I am very good friends with this person and have the utmost respect for them. So I'm not trying to debunk their work. This is my work. This is completely different. These are my opinions and my opinions only. But they make sense. They're logical explanations. But I'm not saying that, ZoZo could very well be a very real demon. Do I think that? No. Do I believe other people believe it? Yes. So I'm not going to discredit and say, well, you're just doing it for, attention, or it's whatever. We're adults, and we both research and study and seek truth, and that's what we're both doing. So there's no conflict between me and another person. That is very, very respectable in the Ouija community. So there's no me trying to say that person made it up. I'm not saying anybody specifically made it up. So no. It could be very well. It could be real. It could be very real. It is for a lot of people, but for me, no. So I just think it's a thought form of self-fulfilling prophecies. Everything that you hear about ZoZo is a self-fulfilling prophecy. But I'm still not trying to discredit or cause, any trouble for the other person that already has books out about ZoZo, and, I have the utmost respect. We've been friends for a long time now. And that book, The ZoZo Phenomenon, has made me reach deeper and to research more and to find the truth for myself. That is what that book did for me. So the book is fabulous. Get it and read it, and then come to your own conclusions. So yes, there's no bad blood between me and anybody else researching the ZoZo Phenomenon. None of it. There's no bad blood, no nothing. So I don't want anybody to think that, I'm saying one specific person made it all up, because I'm not. It goes back before this person. And it's true. That's true. It does go further back before this person was even born. So, somebody did made it up. Made it up. Somebody made it true. Somebody made it happen. Somebody fulfilled it. Somebody self-fulfilled that prophecy. So, and it just keeps going. And it just keeps going. And it's that loop cycle effect. So, but no, I'm not discrediting anybody or being a dick to anybody. Because I have, yeah, like I said, said person is like a fatherly figure to me, helping me, exploring different realms, different dimensions, different entities, and bringing light for me through their book. So that's what that's all about. So don't think I'm trying to discredit anybody, because I'm not. I just think it should be seen and just looked at from every aspect until you can find your own truth. And I'm finding my own truth with this phenomenon. So, yeah. All right, guys. I'm done for today. I'm cold. It's freezing. So, I'll see y'all tomorrow for Witchy Wednesday. And I love you all very, very, very much. And I hope you guys have a great day. Remember to be safe, stay warm. And yeah, think good thoughts. Think good thoughts for our country. Because it's kind of scary. So, alright. If you guys see the meme, the new Ouija, part 3, Ouija Origins of Evil, the 3rd installment, it's a meme. Google it. It's great. Mike Flanagan, you're amazing. You're a god. I swear you are. You are a genius. Alright guys, I love you all very much. I will see you guys for Witchy Wednesday.